Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to talk about Bitcoin, and we're going to be looking to see if we can hold the 20-week moving average for the fourth week in a row from the very first test. So things are looking good so far. The 20-week moving average at the present time is approximately 10,159. The current price of Bitcoin is 10,779. So if you take a measured move from where we currently are down to the 20-week, that's approximately 5% above the 20-week moving average. So if you guys like this content, please subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. Also, please check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. So let's go ahead and jump in. So as we mentioned, the current price of Bitcoin is around 5% higher than the 20-week moving average. Now, the reason why this is important is if you've been unless you've been living under a rock the last few weeks, you know that every time we get down to the 20-week moving average, things get rather testy, right? People get worried. A lot of altcoins start bleeding like crazy against USD and against Bitcoin, right? Every test tends to cause altcoins to fall further each time, which is why retesting the 20-week causes, in general, it causes the Bitcoin dominance to go up, right? And the reason is because every time it tests it, it tends to make altcoins bleed against it, right? So we came down here. This was the first week we tested it, right? We tested it again right here. This third week, we didn't really go all the way down and test it, but at the end of the day, we came within a couple percentage points of it. So when you zoom out, right, it looks more or less like this was yet another test of the 20-week moving average. And then we know as well, this fourth week, we had a wick which came right down to the 20-week moving average. Now, again, one of the things to note, right, is every time we go down here, we have to, we're slowly moving up, right? And this is what we said a few weeks ago. Even in a bull market, even when Bitcoin is in a bull market, it needs to hold a 20-week moving average. But even in this case, it has to slowly and methodically move up in order to retain this bull market status. If it didn't, right, if we went to 9,600 or 9,800 a few weeks ago and moved sideways and we're closing candles over here, well, that would be a problem, right? Because we would be closing weekly candles below the 20-week moving average. And every time we come down to this level, we can sense how critical it is, right? The first time it was 9,800. Then later it was 9,900. We had a wick below it. It only lasted a few seconds. Over here it was 10,000, and then this week it was 10,100. So the price to hold, right, the line that we need to hold continues moving up, right? And it's because for the longest period of time it was moving up quickly, because if you take a measured move, right, and go back 20 weeks, we were essentially replacing, 20 weeks now is this point, but before this we were replacing these bars down here with bars much higher. This is what caused the 20-week moving average to increase as rapidly as it did. Okay, but moving forward, it's not going to move up as quickly, because we're just replacing it with this reaccumulation range, right, which is only $1,500 or so, give or take 500 or so, different than the weekly candles that we're currently printing. So we would expect the 20-week moving average to somewhat level off, right? So we're not going to continue to see it go up as quickly as we have in the past. You can already see it is starting to level off some. So again, for Bitcoin to maintain its bullish momentum, it needs to stay above the 20-week moving average, right? If we close weekly candles below the 20-week moving average, then this tends to be very bad for altcoins against USD and against Bitcoin. So this is the key area to look out for. And every single week, this area it's dynamic, right? The 20-week moving average is changing week to week. So we want to hold this level, and if we hold it, we see how quickly the sentiment can change, right? And even when we were over here testing the 20-week, we made a video saying, you know what, it's bearish right now, but if we hold it, there's going to be a bounce, right? And then all of a sudden people are bullish again, right? The market sentiment can change on a dime as long as we're above the 20-week moving average. If we fall below it, right, as we've showed before, if we fall below it, Where, this time we fell directly down to the 100-week moving average this time, and this was, failing to hold it here. When we failed to hold it here, we came down to the 200-week again with a wick to the 300-week. It doesn't go all the way over here because it's not the BLX and it doesn't have price history back to 2010, but the 300-week moving average was in this ballpark. So if we were to fail to hold it, if we just look to see where these moving averages are, just so you have an idea, the 100-week moving average is at 77.99, and the 200-week moving average is at 67.28. So these would be the areas to look out for if we were not able to hold it on the weekly time frame. Remember, wicks are okay. It's just business as usual as long as we hold it on the weekly time frame. Now we've been covering this weekly, right, daily almost, talking about these levels, these critical levels that we need to hold, and we're going to continue making updated videos about this, right, until we move back to higher local highs, or at least back up closer to this local high. And then if we can continue back on up, then we don't really need to discuss the 20-week as much. It's just that when we're in the vicinity of it, it merits continued discussion just because of how important it is. And this is another good reminder, right? No matter where we are in the bull market, a drop to the 20-week moving average is always on the cards, right? It's always on the cards. And when it happens, it's when Bitcoin regains some of that dominance, okay? I want to remind you guys, if you like the content, make sure you check out the premium list at intothecryptoverse.com. The prices are going up in 2 days. So it's September 26th, my time. On September 28th, the prices will be going up quite substantially. So if you want to get grandfathered into the lower prices, make sure you sign up in the next 2 days. As a reminder, you get access to the risk levels, which is what I use to trade. It's been really great so far. A lot of people are using it. You get access to the risk, the private Telegram chat room, and the alerts channel, right, which is where I candidly communicate my thoughts on the market. You also get access to the weekly premium videos and the weekly premium report. So there's a lot of them. Historically, they're very valuable in my opinion. I think they stand the test of time. I try to make them so that they're valuable no matter when you're looking at them. So there's lessons learned, right? So you get access to all the prior ones. So again, if you've been waiting on it for a while now, if you've been following the channel for a while, and you want to check it out, make sure you do before the 28th, because you can always just get a month and then you can always cancel if it's not your thing. But if you wait a couple more days, the prices will go up quite substantially. So again, just a reminder, check it out. You can also pay with crypto up to 12 months here and get up to a 15% discount. So make sure you check that out. Once you sign up, you'll actually get options if you want to do a lifetime option, which is also going to be going up on the 28th. So make sure you check that out if it's something that you would find interesting. So far, it looks like Bitcoin, it's currently close to around 10.8. I want to switch over to the daily time frame because we can, and this is the 20-week moving average. We're just plotting it in days. You can see all the tests we've had of the 20-week here. We've had approximately 3 tests here. Obviously, we can always come back down and test it again. Even tomorrow, we could come down and test it, right? It's only a 5% drop. You always have to recognize that it's always a possibility that Bitcoin drops 5% in a day. This is par for the course, even in a bull market. So again, if we can close tomorrow above the 20-week moving average, then we'll be starting our 5th weekly candle above the 20-week moving average. By the way, the last time we came to the 20-week, we had one candle to the 20-week, and then we failed to hold it. When we came to it the time before, we really weren't printing candles right on top of it, right, with wicks directly to it, until this candle, which we had a wick below, and then from there we fell below immediately. Okay, if you go back to the last cycle, and you look at the 20-week, right, the first time we failed to hold it was right here, and we came straight down to it and immediately dropped below it. When we started moving sideways above the 20-week, this, in fact, was the beginning of the bull market, right? This was the beginning of the bull market. We just didn't know it yet. So again, there are no guarantees, right? Bitcoin could easily kick the can down the road if it decides, there's too much uncertainty in the air with the economy, with stocks. If stocks were to crash a lot, then this would probably not be good for Bitcoin. But there's always a chance it kicks the can down the road. But at the same time, what if it doesn't, right? What if this is the beginning of the bull market and that, it's mostly up from here, right? That's the question. Is it going to be mostly up from here, or are we going to get one final, chance at lower prices? If you're unfamiliar with the channel, again, we talk about lengthening cycles, right? And the general idea is that Bitcoin should be getting to a sustainable 20K in approximately the next 16 months or so. So in order for it to do that, it needs to slowly and methodically increase to a sustainable 20K. Maybe it bubbles and then comes back down, right? And then continues on its way. Maybe it fails to hold the 20-week now. This is the daily time frame. Maybe it fails to hold the 20-week and it comes back down, down here, and then pops back up and then recovers and then continues on. I can't tell you exactly what's going to happen or how we're going to get there. I just think there is a fairly decent chance that we get to it during this time period. I think the most likely time is the end of 2021 or beginning of 2022. But again, I mean, there could be some uncertainty on that, of course, right, of a few months, in my opinion. I still think that it would be somewhere in this time frame, and that people that are banking on a $100,000 Bitcoin in on 2021 are going to be sorely disappointed because, the evidence surely does not point to that. So this is where we are in the market cycle, right? Where it's business as usual. We're slowly moving up. So far, we're holding the 20-week as support. If we're able to hold it as support and we move back up, or if we move sideways for a while, even if we move sideways in this area, or if we move back up, it's certainly possible that altcoins will start pumping again, and people will say, we'll look back at this and say, okay, well, this was just a way of Bitcoin that basically squeezing some people out of the market, right? The people that bought up here after it was up fairly significantly in a rather short period of time, making them fill traps, selling it down here, watching these pumps, buying back in, sometimes getting retests of it to scare them back out, and then the cycle continues. So again, you generally don't want to follow the horde, right? You want to be accumulating at lower risk levels and selling at higher risk levels. So the risk levels for Bitcoin are still relatively low. Again, the risk levels can be found on the risk dashboard, which is part of the premium list at intothecryptoverse.com. And again, remember, prices are going up in 2 days. So make sure you subscribe to the channel if you guys like the content. We're going to certainly follow the 20-week moving average. We'll probably make a video tomorrow showing whether we're holding it or not. I don't know if it's going to be an exciting day tomorrow. Maybe it goes down, maybe it doesn't. Last week at this time, I think Bitcoin was around 10.3K. So, and the 20-week was around 10.1, maybe slightly lower, and it was not very volatile. It did not become more volatile until later in the week. So again, there's no guarantees tomorrow is going to be that exciting in terms of volatility, but I think it will be exciting in terms of starting a fifth weekly candle above the 20-week after testing it as support for 4 times now. So 4 tests of support, 3 of them have interacted with the 20-week, and the other one came within 2% of the 20-week. So I hope you guys enjoyed the content and the constant coverage of Bitcoin's price against the 20-week. Make sure you subscribe, trying to get to 40,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Give the video a thumbs up. Check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.